I think about all of it?
Yeah.
I think it's a mess.
You think the ATF sucks?
Yeah, in a way. I really do. See, I knew a few of these people. I met them when I worked at a bar in the mall at Chelsea's about 4 years ago. And I knew some of them, and they were good people.
It was like Mount Carmel to me was about.
That's what I feel about it. The government sucks, period.
You got it.
Swimming pool's back there.
And it's so new it has not been duplicated, but it will be finished. The duplication will be finished in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Right. Okay. Just look in the eye, and you see spirits trapped inside, wanting to fly away from your pain. Life goes on, but it's you, it's not the same. All that you desire, what you think you need, you really desire, and the rock that you are looking to is petrified. The heart seems to grow cold, and now it's sinking to the mire. Lift me higher, made me free. That's the 7th seal manuscript to be written, and we were not going to go out into the hands of them until we had some security, some insurance. So if we were to leave, the building wouldn't meet like an accident like this and burn down, and the truth, we wanted the truth to come out. That was one of the reasons this document was our safeguard. So when they asked us to come out, we didn't. We stayed, as did other communities, as did the Indians at Wounded Knee. They stayed for what they believed in. They ended up dying for what they believed in.
Why do you feel it was so important to observe this day today?
Well, because this is one of the biggest tragedies in American history, and it is the sign of tyrannical government and governmental oppression. It's the sign of the times. It has happened in every country and in every nation. The devices of power and its minions are the same in all countries and in all ages. It marks its victim, denounces it, and excites the public hatred to cover its own encroachments and abuses. That's exactly what's happened here. It's the policy that our government has in other countries. If you read the handbooks, the militaristic handbooks, as I've had the opportunity to read, the first thing you do when you take over a country is you go in and you make a movie. And the movie is going to be very favorable to the government takeover, and the rebels, or actually the farmers and the people that actually live in the country that have been murdered, they're going to be demonized in this movie. That's what the ATF did with the ATF propaganda film that came out on NBC. I don't know if y'all remember it as the big ATF movie, everyone watched it, and it was chock full of lies. It was all lies. And they did this to propagate themselves because they knew they were wrong. They were trying to hide and conceal what they did, and expose the people in here who are on their property defending their faith, defending their property, as being the demonic ones, as being the evil ones, when really it's the spirit of oppression that's evil. They had to tell lie after lie to cover their butt. All we've ever had to tell is the truth. You tell me who's on the right side.
Do you think that the media covered up what actually occurred here at Mount Carmel?
The media took what they were fed by the government and reported it. It's all they had. I believe there's a lot that's come out that the media isn't harping on. I believe basically that they are following the government stance of it's over, we need to move on now to other things. And we're moving on to other things and totally forgetting what happened here, and we can't allow that to happen, because what happened here is the beginning of the destruction of the Constitution. The Constitution actually was being destroyed long ago. This is the actual, what I believe to be, this and Randy Weaver, the first acts of actual force and oppression being used against citizens. It's disgusting. There's no need for it. There's no excuse for it. It's unconstitutional. It's everything our forefathers escaped from when they left England to come here to form this nation. Everything. And we're falling right back in those footsteps. Mankind never learns from the past. We never learn our lesson. And it's going to end in tragedy. It's going to end in a lot of heartbreaks, not just for me and my family, but for you all out there. Everyone's affected by the laws that are being passed. Thousands of new laws every year. Everyone's affected.
Will this be an annual event to continue the remembrance of the people who died out here at Mount Carmel? Do you think this will be an annual thing?
I don't know at this point. This was thrown together by just basically Rita Riddle and a man named Dewey, who's come in and really helped the survivors. Rita Riddle was there. She left during the siege, and she really put this together and worked very hard to get this going. I was basically traveling in Florida and Colorado speaking to people when I found out about this and kind of came back for it. So I'm not really sure at this point. I think it could be. I think it probably will be. It all depends on what happens to the rest of us. You know, there's 7 guys in jail right now and a woman in jail that does not deserve to be in jail. They should. Ruth Riddle, if you ever meet Ruth Riddle, she's one of the nicest. If there was ever a saint here at Mount Carmel, it's Ruth Riddle. And she's doing time right now for, quote-unquote, possessing a firearm. See, now that charge was dropped. Ruth Riddle was acquitted of all charges during the trials. 30 minutes before she's to get on her plane to go back to Canada, what do? The prosecutor reinstates Ruth Riddle's charge after it's already been dismissed. The marshals grab her, and they're going to try her again. You know, she's waiting sentencing right now with the others, and this is 30 minutes before she's to be out of this country. It's disgusting. They're sore losers. They know they lost. They couldn't prove conspiracy. No one should be in jail. End of line, bottom story. Now it's time to start prosecuting the governments and the government officials that brought all this to pass. The wrong people were tried at San Antonio. That's what I'm here to tell you.
What about people who say you're exploiting what happened here, you're here to make a profit for the Branch Davidians, the survivors, and so forth? What do you say to people like that?
Lose your family. I say lose your family and come back and talk to me about making a profit. No one off this has ever profited. I make barely just enough to get from city to city to give people my truth. Oh yeah, I'm just rolling in cash. I don't even have a car. No one here, Rita Riddle, we got people staying with friends, staying with Dewey. We have people that have no place to go making a profit. How about the government who's taken everything that we've ever had, destroyed our property, destroyed everything we ever had? They owe us. They owe us 87 lives. Anyone who say I'm making a profit, I want to sit down and talk to them face to face and give them a piece of my mind. That's ridiculous.
What about the children? They've publicized in the radio and in the news of the 18 of the 21 children who have been released are now in foster care. How do you feel about the children that were taken away from the families here in the Waco incident?
I didn't know that most of them were in foster care. That's the first I heard of that. I've met a lot of the kids that are with their families now, and I can tell you, in a lot of cases that I've seen, they're not disciplined. They're given the run of the house. They get to eat candy and everything they want, basically, they're given. And, you know, we gave our children ice cream. We had fun with our children, but at the same time, they were disciplined. They had what's the word I'm looking for? They weren't giving, they had respect. They weren't given the run of the house. Dave built them a sandbox. They had fun together. We played with them, spent lots of time with our children, but they knew that they were the children and we were the elders. I see that lacking a lot in families today, and I think it's a big part of the reason why this whole nation is going downhill, morally, socially, ethically, the whole 9 yards. So are the kids better off, you'd say? I don't know if I'd see it like that.
Okay, last thing. Describe life at Mount Carmel, how it was, how it truly was.
Well, you know, it wasn't easy. You know, I mean, we did our own laundry. We the women spent a lot of the time spent in the day, you know, cooking food and preparing for people. We did a lot of work. We were trying to better Mount Carmel. We were building buildings. You know, we were building a tornado shelter for the people in there. We built a swimming pool. It was hard work. It wasn't easy, but that's the way we chose to live, biblically. Very simply, we didn't like to have a lot of material things. You know, we had a band. We had enough to get us by. We watched movies. You know, David would often go out and order pizzas for everyone. You know, that's a lot of pizzas. So we definitely had ties with the outside world. We weren't totally exclusive, but at the same time, you know, we liked the way we lived. It was It was getting back to the foundation. It's the way our forefathers lived. You know, they say, well, you guys didn't have running water. Well, yeah, well, you know, neither did George Washington and all these guys when they were building America. You know, they had to rough it. Oh, we had to rough it. Sorry, people sitting at home watching TV, drinking their beer, you know, maybe you don't have to rough it and you don't understand, but there was a time when Americans defended their faith, defended their land and their property to the death. If the enemy would come in and surround their building, they would never send their kids out to the enemy. Never do it. Never in a million years. They would defend their faith, defend their position, defend their constitution to the death. We've lost that in this country. People don't care about their rights anymore. You see your rights slipping away. Every new law that's passed, your rights are slipping away. Every time you get away from the Constitution, your rights are slipping away, slipping away. Eventually, you're going to be sitting there with your beer, watching the football game. They're going to come in, they're going to take all your weapons, there's nothing you can do about it, you know? We're giving away our rights. We got to stop that. This government is by the people, for the people. We're supposed to, you're the government, I'm the government, he's the government, you're the government. We're supposed to be the government. We control the government. I hope I can get this quote right, but there's a quote that Thomas Jefferson said I think is just brilliant. When you control the government, there's democracy. When the government controls its people, there's tyranny. We are living in a tyrannical government. It's time to get back to the people controlling the government and getting back to true democracy, what we're all about in this nation.
Why do you think so many people gathered here to see what happened?
Because there's people that are interested. There's people that know, after the course of 51 days watching the ATF lie, watching the FBI lie, that they've been fed a line. Americans aren't stupid. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. That's so true. People sit there and they see, wow, 87 people died. Why? Because there was child abuse? Because this guy was, you know, had lots of wives? Why did these people die? There's more to it. There is a lot more to it. What happened? Why did the tanks come in? Why did the helicopters come in shooting? Why did the tanks destroy this place? Why did they use CS gas, which is banned by the military? We don't even use that in foreign nations because it's so deadly. Why did they use it on children who can't breathe, who have small respiratory systems, who literally CS gas will kill them? Why did we do that to our own people? A lot of people want to answer that question, and they know they're not going to get it from the government's doublespeak. They're not going to get it from watching Janet Reno, what she has to say. They're not going to get it from Bill Clinton. They got to find it from the only source available, and that's the survivors, the people that know what happened. And we've been ignored. The media has ignored us. They've cut all our interviews that I've ever done. They made me say things I never said. So, you know, it's just been amazing, and people aren't stupid, and they want to know the truth. And the fortunate thing about the experience I've had is it's a truth. And I can sit here and just explain my experience, and you're going to get a better perception of what happened. And I don't have to lie. I don't have to sit there and contradict myself like the ATF or the FBI. I can still look at myself in the mirror. I'm amazed that these people can.
Sheila, why do you think so many people came out here today?
I think that after a whole year of seeing so many things, seeing so much pain on the screen and so much ugliness that happened in this government, and people who wanted to read the Bible and to study and to just let people know there's a God that lives. I think they wanted to see something. I think they really liked the fact that they were invited. It was going to be a chance to come. I think it gave people a chance to really see what happened and feel things, and they wanted to feel. And the situation of people coming and asking and wanting to learn means a lot. It really does.
How do you feel that the media portrayed what actually happened here at Mount Carmel?
I think that the media took a lot from what they were giving them. They weren't given a chance to be close, to see what was happening. They were pushed so far back. They just were glad to have something, and I think they took a lot of it. But there were certain people who had a chance to say, look, this is not right. And that's why the other side has had a chance to go out.
What do you say to people that say you guys are out here making money, exploiting what occurred here? What do you say to people like that?
I say they should have lived with us all for a year. Wonder what we've gone through to even get this far, how we've had to scrimp and save, and the people in jail. And I mean, all of us, I had to scrimp and save for 4 months. And then it was always when my children came, then we'd get Social Security. Other than that, it had been for the good-hearted people and kindnesses. I never would have had my children because they weren't going to let them come until I had a home. So I had to have the home and the money and the children. I mean, it was just back and forth, back and forth.
So this has affected you a lot. How bad would you say this has affected your life?
Well, just the fact, I'll tell you, the first step was having my little boy who's handicapped. His dad wasn't there to hold him when I had to cook food or when I was doing other things. Dad was always there to hold him and to soothe his arms that don't move or do things, a body that can't sit up. Dad had big arms and a big chest and a lot of love, and he loved that little boy so very much, and I know that he's not there for him now.
I saw a shot on the news last night of some kind of civil unrest in Rwanda or some little pathetic little place, and there were scenes like this, you know, and a bus burning.
You know what? This needs to be preserved.
Yeah. I mean, it was burned recently since I shot the scenes down here, but
Same thing's going to happen to the Alamo, where all you've got left is just part of the original facade.
yeah, and this is how rumor and myth comes into play. People, for political reasons, sometimes religious reasons, go and destroy evidence of the facts.
Yeah, like that big cover-up we were talking about that's 2,000 years old.
Yes. Well, every cherished tradition that I have had in all of my life in the past year has been pretty well slapped down. So I am more open-minded to things these days.
Yeah, so am I. I think that,
Like, why is there okay, do we worship Jesus Christ or do we worship God? You know? God, I mean, there have been many avatars, many great teachers.
Yeah.
There is one alive today in India,
yeah.
someplace.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when he dies, I don't think he'll become flesh of God any more than you or I already are. You know, beloved, now are ye the sons of God, and it does not yet appear what you shall be. That's interesting. For political reasons, Christianity was invented. Or, I think there was maybe a small group of followers of Christ who...
The original Jesus movement, and it later passed, after James was killed, it was later passed to Thomas, who then ended up going east.
This does not, I don't believe, does any sacrilege to the person of Jesus Christ. He still remains a great avatar.
Certainly.
And God is unchanging.
Bulldozing the evidence about changing the story, the party line, the official party line. It was about controlling the media. It was about dominating the media. You saw that car out here that was run over by a tank. You know what I mean. It was about censorship. It was about isolation, mind games, psychological warfare. It was about the desperation of children inside.
Diana Martin, a black British citizen, died April 19, 1993. The next cross we have is of her sister, Teresa Nobrega, who also died. Teresa's daughter, Natalie. The next name we have is of another black British citizen, Sandra Hardiel. April 19, 1993. Sandra was 27. Lisa Marie Martin. daughter of Sheila Martin. Died April 19, 1993 in the fire.
It was all unnecessary.
Whatever you want to say on these, going to play fast. It's a cold week. A bit.
Everyone says they want the truth. Everyone says they want to know what happened. And no one's willing to get down in it and find out. Very few. Those are the only ones that are ever going to find out. You're not going to find out through this thing here. Every editor, you guys can have the best of intentions. You got an editor that's controlled. He's going to control everything you say. He's going to cut everything I have to say. People never know what's happening. I'm disgusted with the information highway this country's evaluated, with all our technology. People still don't know what happened at Mount Carmel. It's ignorance. It's disgusting.
I won't edit it if you can tell me what happened at Mount Carmel.
They're dead. That's what happened. They're killed.
Murdered?
No, they're killed.
Well, I'm not editing you.
I know. I don't want to talk right now. It's just the bottom line.
Thanks, sorry. That's all right.